Hello everyone, the Nerdy Steve here, and today I want to bring you a 5-color Kami War deck in Standard. The link to the list is in the description below. I'm going to talk about the general game plan of the deck, some of the card choices, and a little bit about the sideboard, and then we will play a couple of matches, so let's go. So, first, I just want to say, I get a lot of my deck lists from Untapped GG. I just go scroll through what is popular and what people are playing, and then usually base my decks on that. So if you have a deck that you might want to see, you can always just comment below, and then I can take a look and maybe feature it on the channel. So, getting back to this deck, what a doozy of a deck. So the Kami War is kind of what this deck is featured around, and it is a 5-color Mythic Saga enchantment from the new Kamigawa set, and it does a lot of stuff. So the first stage is it exiles target non-land permanent and opponent controls. So it's a 6-mana removal spell, nothing too exciting, but then on stage 2, it's return up to one other target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, then each opponent discards a card. Now the second stage does a couple of interesting things. Besides making your opponent discard a card, it could not just return something of your opponent's to their hand, it could also return another permanent you control to your hand. And that can sometimes work out if you want to return maybe another Saga to your hand to reuse it, maybe a Courier's Briefcase if you want another 1/1. It doesn't necessarily have to be your opponent's. Even if you return your own thing, you're going to still make your opponent discard. And so that's just something to keep in mind. It's a little more flexible than one might initially think. And you can always have the Kami Wars bounce each other if you really, really want to do that. And maybe we will. Who knows? And then on the third stage, it has this really big 6/6 flying trampler that when it attacks or returns stuff from your graveyard to your hand. It's a bunch of huge good nonsense wrapped in one card, and this deck is kind of focused on letting that huge weird nonsense shine and hopefully do really, really well. So the deck around it is, first of all, look at this mana base, everyone. Now, I did not make this mana base, and I am not judging this mana base, but it is a doozy. It does a lot of different things, and hopefully we will not get color screwed in any way, shape, or form, though it probably will happen, and that's okay. But to help us out and to help us get to our mana, we have Binding the Old Gods, which is a 4-mana removal spell. So you want to note with Binding, Battle of Frost and Fire, and the Kami War, these sagas are all removal, right? And that's not necessarily by coincidence, right? This deck needs to get to the late game, it needs to draw cards, it needs to get mana, and so having things that help you get there is really, really important. But the Binding of the Old Gods also, on the second stage, can get a forest card from your library and put it into play tapped, which means it can get Ziatora's Proving Ground, Jetmir's Garden, and Spara's Headquarters. So, Binding the Old Gods is going to allow you to fix your mana and hopefully, get you to a place where you can cast everything sooner rather than later if you are missing a color. Then we also have Battle of Frost and Fire, which deals 4 damage to each non-giant creature and each planeswalker. And this has always been a surprisingly powerful card in Standard, and I'm kind of surprised it doesn't see more play. It's bad in maybe matchups where your opponent has really, really big threats or they're going to combo off in one turn. But Battle of Frost and Fire is really good against a lot of the aggro and mid-range decks because you can get rid of their entire board and a lot of the problematic planeswalkers that these decks reliably have. And then it scries 3, which, big whoop. But then, when you cast a 5-mana spell, or a spell with mana value 5 or greater, you get to draw 2 and discard card. Which, in this deck, there's a lot of stuff that's very, very expensive. So, hopefully on the third stage, you can then filter into other stuff, like maybe another Battle of Frost and Fire, or the Kami War, right? And so those are like our big things. We then have Titan of Industry as a very, very huge top-end threat that can get rid of problematic artifacts and enchantments, can gain you life. It does a lot of stuff, and we can ramp into it fairly easily. So this card is really, really good. And again, part of our game plan, right? This deck wants to stall early until we can do something that, like the Kami War and Titan, where your opponent has to deal with it. And in the meanwhile, if they deal with it, we have some type of advantage, right? We either have a 4/4 creature, or we've already made them lose a permanent or two. And now let's go back to our early drops, right? Which, you know, are important because if you don't do anything on turn 2 or 3 of the game, you're probably going to lose. So we have Courier's Briefcase, which creates a 1/1, but also ramps us into our more powerful spells. We have Esika, God of the Tree, and the Celestus, which are these cards that, you know, are going to help fix us our mana and ramp, and maybe sometimes we might want a Prismatic Bridge. I can't imagine we're doing that a lot, because we're really only getting Titan of Industry. But, hey, that might be something we do, because we know we will get Titan of Industry, so if we can maybe Esika or the Prismatic Bridge early, that might be a line that we want to remember and, you know, consider. Then we also have Fable of the Mirror Breaker, which, you know, is in every deck these days. But it's really, really good here because not only can the treasure from the 2/2 fix our mana, right, and ramp us into what we want to do, but the looting away of cards we don't need is always very, very good. I mean, it's good in every deck, let's be real. And then I also want to talk about, there are a couple other things we haven't really talked about, but Spirit Sister's Call is a card that is really, really weird. And good, maybe, we'll see how it works, but it does a lot of weird things. So at the beginning of your end step, so you can cast it, and then it triggers the turn you cast it, which is good. So at the beginning of your end step, choose target permanent card in your graveyard. So let's say we choose an enchantment in our graveyard. You may sacrifice a permanent that shares a card type with the chosen card. So if we choose an enchantment in a graveyard, we have to choose an enchantment that's on the battlefield. If you do, return the chosen card from your graveyard to the battlefield, and it gains, if this permanent would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. So what the Spirit Sister's Call is doing is kind of reusing the sagas in your graveyard to use the ones that you don't need that's in play. So if you have a Spirit Sister's Call and a binding that's already destroyed a permanent and already searched your library, the creature you control gain Death Touch until end of turn isn't necessarily relevant in this deck. So you can sacrifice a binding to maybe bring back a Fable of the Mirror Breaker or the Kami War to reuse something like that. And that's kind of why it's here as a one-of. And then for our sideboard, like, we kind of had the usual suspects. This deck is very anti-aggro, so you're probably going to want Disdainful Stroke main deck, or to bring it in for games 2 and 3 against decks that maybe have Goldspan Dragon or the more non-creature heavy decks. We have more Pinpoint Removal if you need that. Tamiyo Safekeeping can target any permanent and give it indestructible and hexproof, which is good at protecting your Kami War for decks that have that. And then we have more graveyard and other removal. So, with that, let's go play this deck and see how it goes. Okay, we don't really have... We get to Azusa on turn 2. Maybe we can go for Esika. So we have blue, red, white. We can green here, Azusa. We'll do this for red, green. We're gonna be missing a color, I think. Oh, we have... Huh. Do they have a counterspell? No! Punished for not playing a land, everyone. Imagine that. Okay. So that was very, very unfortunate. But next turn we get to Prismatic Bridge. And hopefully it will get us into Titan, into Titan, into Titan, and that will be good enough. Right? Hinata? Uh-oh. Just don't return the Prismatic Bridge, everyone. Can we all get the no returning Prismatic Bridge vibes in chat? Please. Goldspan Dragon, okay. I wonder what our opponent could possibly have. Are they going to return this? Oh, okay. So let's... Oh. Non-giant creature? Don't mind if I do. Oh, that was a great... that was so good. Do we want to deal 1 damage? Let's deal 1. I would have made a gain 5 life or made a shield token had I known. Oh, wow. Remember how I said Battle Frost and Fire wasn't good against the combo decks? Maybe it's okay. Let's... Beautiful. That felt wonderful, everyone. Think maybe we can get... I have no idea what we're supposed to add in or take out, though. That felt great, though. Alright. This isn't great. We don't have any RAM. Maybe taking out Azusa was wrong. Oh, Reckoner? Oh, their opponent not... I think our opponent kept a 2-lander. I'd probably try and draw. Okay, I would like no more Battle of Frost and Fires, please. Alright, okay. We can do this, though. Their opponent not draw another land? That'd be very, very bad for them. Okay. Maybe they were holding on to a land. Okay, Spell Pierce? Fine. Our opponent is thinking. Make disappear. Okay. So opponent went to a very, very creature-heavy build, which makes sense. But, I mean, do we just go for it again? Like, what are the odds they have another counter spell? 100%. A disaster, honestly. Okay, opponent. Well, everything of ours got countered. So maybe we do need that to come down on turn 2 to help. Or not. I like to live wildly. We're good. We don't have any blue mana, but that's fine. Not the Magma Opus. Fable. Now maybe we could have gone for our own Fable. And maybe we should have. They can Hinata here. Alright, well, Fable... We have a Disdainful Stroke. Still. Oh, maybe we should have tapped this for mana instead of this land, so that if they kill it, we still have a Disdainful Stroke. Okay, that's fine. No Spell Pierce, please? Oh, thank God. They could Spell Pierce this. But if they didn't counter that... Alright, they did. Wow. Well, we need something stat here. And I think I need to battle, because we need to scry. Our Esika's Chariot isn't going to do anything. We need to get into some type of value, otherwise we will die. That's interesting. I'm assuming they have a lot of counter magic in their hands still. So I'm gonna do this because I don't want to get disruption. Stroke, okay. They could put us on a 3-turn clock with Hall. We don't have a blocker for it, which is a little upsetting. Idealistically, they, like, tap out. Wow. All the counter magic, everyone. Okay. We have a couple of decent draws. We have a lot of very bad draws. So we have 1, 2, 3. 5, 6, 7, 8. We can do it for 7. So close. Gold span, yep. And they do, and we lose. We could have probably survived another turn, but oh well. GG. Let's just hope this opponent is more aggressive. That's not a good idea. Good thing. All right, that's a little better. Our opponent's like, "What are you doing?" And I go, "I have no idea, quite frankly." I want a treasure token. Kaito?
The system can't fix everything. Thanks. I'll be taking that now.
I don't even know if I want to discard anything. So we're going to attack here, and what we are hoping on is our opponent to have absolutely no counter magic here. So we're gonna kill this, and then maybe burn down the house next turn to wipe Kaito and all the creatures. And if we can do that, maybe we can just breathe a little. And then ride our Kami War to death. Or to win. Oh no. That was a bad subliminal. Freudian slip. Oh my god. Oh no. Our opponent didn't cast anything. This is very, very bad. Oh, Evelyn? Okay. Not... Alright, we can breathe a little bit. Deal 5 damage to everything. We get to wipe the entire board. And now we can untap with the Kami War. Corpse Appraiser, okay. So white, blue, black, red, green, 1. We have the mana. Beautiful. Our opponent is a very, very mid-range deck. A lot of their cards 2-for-1. And that I think our 2-for-1s are a little better with the Binding, Fable, Battle, and Kami War. Like, I think a lot of our cards can be 3-for-1s, right? Or more, as they go a little longer. So I think this might be good. Oh. That is gonna die. And then you discard. We could have done the Titan that turn, but I don't think we're in a rush, and I like getting Fable and the Celestus out. Oh, ooh. They get to duress our Binding.
I know something you don't know.
I don't think we need the Eiganjo. Let's gain 5 life and destroy that. So our opponent can't loot. And whenever O Kagachi made Manifest attacks, the defending player chooses a non-land permanent in your graveyard and we return it to our hand. Okay. That seems good. Because we're going to be able to do it over and over and over again, right? Don't kill it. We're gonna activate that to maybe draw and loot. Ooh. Now we get to use Spirit Sister. We get to sacrifice the reflections of Kiki Jiki and bring back Binding or Battle to wipe the board. That seems fine, and then next turn we can cycle it again. Because we get to scry and then bring back Binding. Or Fable. No, no, no. Titan is, we'll gain 5 and create a 4/4. We'll bring back Binding. Sack that. I mean, I'd be worried if I was our opponent. I also have my DoorDash coming soon, so I apologize if I'm looking at my phone. We have green, so we can Haunted Ridge, which leaves a turn 2 Briefcase. Oh, maybe not. We want to try and ride the Prismatic Bridge to victory. They're gonna Spell Pierce that? Wow. Why does every deck have Spell Pierce, by the way? Let me cast my spells. Let me win. So next turn, if they tap out, we get to Prismatic Bridge. But they know we have it, right? So maybe we just Binding the underdog. Okay. We should have done this before we played our land, just to give us a little more information on what we're discarding. But I'm being really afraid of counter magic right now, so I'm not doing anything. And can you blame me after what happened last match? Ooh. We're gonna have to, maybe we don't even worry about Prismatic Bridge anymore, and we just go for it, because we only have 2 more Titans in the deck. Right? Alright, that's good. Anger for Spara. We bridge. Green. And now we get 2 more Titans of Industry, which hopefully will be enough. I can imagine a world where it's not, but... I mean, we also get to cast the one in our hand, so 3. Just a casual 0 to 22 power. No big deal. Our opponent is trying. GG. Remember when I said I wasn't ever going to use the Prismatic Bridge? Hello everyone, and thank you for watching me play some 5-color Kami War in Standard. This deck kind of did exactly what I expected it to do, which was be really grindy and do weird and cool and powerful stuff. Maybe not very consistently, but it's still fun and cool. And I actually think in a more aggressive metagame, this deck could really shine. Because, again, a lot of its cards you have a lot of board wipes, you can 1-for-1 your opponent early on, it has ramp. The mana actually wasn't that bad, and maybe, like, you could tune it up to be a bit, better if you wanted to further, go with this deck. But, like, we lost against the control deck, and I think the Hinata combo is very popular right now, and that's probably really good here, because a lot of our board wipes and a lot of our interaction doesn't work well against them. But if you don't expect to play that a lot, maybe this is a deck to try out. It is great, and honestly, though, one thing I love about Magic is casting really cool cards, and the Kami War is one of the coolest cards you can have in Standard right now. So why not have fun with it, if you want to? That's my goal in life, right? So with all that being said, if you haven't already, you should totally like, comment, or subscribe. I stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/thenerdysteve, and you can watch me play decks like this live and interact and talk with me there. And I hope you learned something, or at least had fun. And I just want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening wherever you are. Bye.